Hey, what's up, guys? So today I wanted to talk about GameStop, and all the time on social media, Facebook, YouTube, pretty much everywhere, GameStop just gets railed against. They just get bashed absolutely, completely. Some of it totally fairly and totally understandably, and some of it I think is a little bit overkill, to be completely honest. A few months ago, they had the bullshit policy, the Circle of Life policy. I think that was totally good. The people got on them about that. For those who don't know, that was a policy where they were pressuring their employees to actually lie to their customers, and if a customer came in and said, I want to buy a brand new copy of this game, the employee would say, we don't have any new copies, but we have used copies. And the reason that they would do that is because GameStop makes a whole lot more profit off of used games than they do on new ones. That's not fair to game developers, however, and it's not fair to the customers who are coming in wanting a brand new game. It's annoying to me when I go into GameStop and I say, okay, I want to buy a new copy of this game, and they pull it off the shelf and stick the disc in and say, here you go. That's not a new copy of a game. It's like, I get it that it sucks if they have to, you know, take one of their brand new games out of shrink wrap and stick it on the shelf to display it, but, you know, sell it as a used game. Take $5 off of it and say this is used. It's not new when the shrink wrap comes off of it. Um, Obviously, there are things about GameStop that drive me crazy. However, I do actually still support them. And the reason for that is that GameStop is the last remaining gaming dedicated chain that exists. And, you know, I really appreciate hard copies of games. I love hard copies of everything, basically music, movies, and gaming. I don't buy digital only copies of things. Very rarely, anyways. Every once in a while, but not very often. And it's just really sad to me to think of them going. I think that GameStop is on their last legs. I don't think that they're going to last very long. But that's not something that I want to have happen. I like that when I'm at the mall with my wife and she's looking at whatever, clothes or whatever, I can walk over to GameStop and read the backs of games, and I like that I can go and try whatever new console is out, talk with the store employees, and just kind of be in a gaming related only store. GameStop has done some things to try and curb the fact that people are buying so many digital games nowadays, and they've got T-shirts, they've got games, they've got not video games. I mean like board games and stuff that are gaming related. They've got like little collectibles like statues and stuff, trading card games. So they're kind of trying to offset what I think is probably going to be the inevitable, which is that hard copies are out and digital only is going to be in, and there's going to be no point for GameStop. Now, another bullshit thing about GameStop is their trade-in policy. People are always bitching about their trade-in credit. The thing is you're not going to get anything for trade-in no matter where you go. So like people that bitch about that, it's like I get it. I think it's stupid, but at the same time it's like that's the way it is everywhere. If you go to a pawn shop, if you go to a local game store, if you go to a GameStop and you try and sell them something, they're going to give you 40% of its value. Maybe, and I tell you, anytime that I'm going to sell anything that has any value whatsoever, it goes on eBay. I'm not fucking around with this bullshit. I go to used game stores and I buy used games from them. I never sell anything back to them because you're just going to get totally ripped off. I'm glad that other people do because that gives these stores inventory for me to shop through, but I'm certainly not going to do that. So, you know, getting all upset about the trading credit at GameStop is just kind of like, it's pointless. It's not going to change. It reminds me a lot. GameStop kind of reminds me of Blockbuster. When Blockbuster went down, that was really sad. You may not have been going to Blockbuster on the weekly and renting movies the way we all did when we were younger, but it was still just kind of sad to see that happen. It's the end of an era, and hard copies are definitely on their way out. That's a whole other topic. I don't like that. Already when you go to buy a hard copy of a game, you're really kind of buying a shell of the game to begin with, because game developers are sending their games out not complete, and you're downloading the completeness, so what happens 10, 15 years down the road when I decide I want to play Metal Gear Solid: The Phantom Pain and don't have all the stuff downloaded? Once the servers are gone, I'm going to be left with what's on this disc. That is not a complete game, and it's definitely not the finished version of the game. And that's going to suck. The best way that you can combat that is to make sure that you download things onto your hard drives and keep it forever, literally forever, or else if you don't have that, you're not going to be able to access that. That's something that we haven't dealt with yet, but it's coming, because eventually they're not going to keep those servers up forever, and for game preservation, that's really tough for me. I love that I can go and buy a PS2 game and it's the exact complete copy of this game, and it's in a hard copy, and I don't have to screw around with, downloading anything. Like, I stick it in and it works, and it's all right here. And I really wish that people were, that developers were like realizing the importance of this. I don't know. It's kind of a moot point because it's not going to change. It's the era that we live in. Digital downloading is the future, but it's not a future that I personally like. There's so much else to it too. Like, I love going to a store, looking through the merchandise, reading the backs of these games, looking at the pictures, and then buying it and taking it home. And then, in the old days at least, looking through booklets and, reading about the game mechanics and the characters and the story. And, it was just such a process. I mean, it's like that for me with any kind of media. CDs, I don't like doing digital download. Movies, I don't want to do that. It's becoming more and more that way, just completely. I mean, if you walk into a Best Buy, their CD section, if they have one, is very small. It's not like it was 10 years ago. And it just kind of sucks, but it is just kind of the way it is also. So kind of got to get used to it. But I don't know. All this going back to my point about GameStop, I don't think they're perfect, but at the same time, they're the only ones doing what they're doing. They're the only ones left doing what they're doing. And for that, I will continue to support them because I care about physical media. And I think that GameStop is kind of the last, one of the last barriers that's left keeping things from going completely digital. And once they're gone, and that will happen, I think, probably pretty soon. I don't know, 5 years. I don't know how long it's going to take, but when they're gone, that's going to be really sad to me. And all the people, I think, who are just railing on them relentlessly, more than is deserved, I think that they may be shocked at how much they're going to be sad to see them go. It's not going to be a good day. I don't care how much you hate GameStop. Seeing GameStop go is not good for us who love physical media in our video games. So those are just my thoughts. Let me know what you think in the comments. See ya.